Prayers to all the people that currently live in Wasco that used to be farm workers or currently are, and they used to live in that abandoned lot. May they find peace. May they find forgiveness for themselves and generations of families that were left unattended in terrible conditions. I especially pray for the current farm workers that without them, we don't have food to eat. I pray for their families and for families in my lineage that are currently working in the fields. Mateo, continuing to pray for those that have worked in the fields, especially in Wasco, California. So, today's story, I'm actually going to be talking about the abandoned farm worker camp in Wasco, California. Because that is somewhere where a lot of people don't go. A lot of people don't go there because it's heavily run by gangs. And then not just that, but people tend to barricade themselves or they use it as like temporary shelter. So this is something that I do have my notes. What I ended up doing yesterday, which is technically today too, because I stayed up sewing late at night. I ended up sewing it inside out. Wrong side out. And so that's what I'm fixing right now. So, yeah. So, there is an abandoned farm worker camp where people used to actually live there, kind of like barracks. And this is in the city of Wasco that became very toxic and therefore abandoned eventually. They tried to demolish it back in 2010, and it's still up, but it's now turned into a big hotspot for crime or gang activity, and people barricade themselves in there because it was an actual living quarters, so it has access to water, it has access to rooms, and so police oftentimes go over there and they find it, they have a hard time going over there. So the rumors started back in 2010, that people were starting to complain about gang activity, squatters, people barricading themselves, a bunch of sheriff's calls, or strange people moving at night. But other people, like residents that live near there, they complain about hearing weird or strange noises. Even the people that barricade themselves, they say that it just feels like somebody is constantly watching them. Now imagine you driving through Wasco. If you haven't been through Wasco or down the 43, it is nothing but fields. And at some point, you can't even see anything. You don't even know where the road is. I'm a city girl, and so when I first drove through Wasco, I used to get lost a lot. And oftentimes I would mistake the roads for streets. And so one time I did end up driving accidentally into a field. So there's fields on both sides. You hear the horn from the train in the distance. And then imagine when the winter time or the tool fog hits, you can't see anything. There's no street lights. So there's rows of abandoned units, about 100 units at night. And there's broken windows, open doors, entire buildings that the city let rot. There's way too many excuses as to why this hasn't been demolished, as to why it's there. There's even one time they were trying to remodel it to create jobs for the community, and that was an empty promise. But people feel very eerie about what transpired about the building because of what transpired back in the day. There was actually a huge lawsuit. A couple of people let some reporters know what had happened there, and then that's what actually made the camp be shut down, because of all the allegations. And so just imagine an entire community of one of the most vulnerable populations, which is our farm workers, which feed us. Without them, we wouldn't be able to eat. Without them, we wouldn't be able to have nourishment for the day. So these are entire communities, entire generations of people that suffered, that raised their families, and just kind of disappeared in that little section. And the rest of the world, especially in the valley, just kept moving like nothing happened. Nobody even really remembers the way that these allegations were brought up, like this huge lawsuit of all the things going on. With everything that's been coming up about Cesar Chavez and all these other people in power, it's stories like these that really need to be brought up again. And as you know, I'm really big on energy. And so all that suffering, all that desperation, all of that greed, all this that has been put on a vulnerable population, just like the farm workers, it's all in those bones of that building, those memories and those walls of things that were said or were left unsaid. So what do you think? In that abandoned facility, those abandoned buildings in the city of Wasco, California, what do you think? Apoco Espantan? And I would really love for my new friends that started to follow me, that are from Wasco, to chime in. How do you feel about like a building that is, well, a bunch of buildings that are still there? I myself don't even frequent that area. So yeah, I want to know. Apoco Espantan?